So we are live. Okay. So we're just going to take a minute to share, and then that's going to be. Okay. Just. Yeah. So for those who are joining in, we are take a minute or two of your time to kind of share the link with some of our followers who might not get the automatic indication that we are live. So that's what we are trying to do, just to share on the different forums that we are part of. So it will take us about a minute or two before we, kick off the conversation for today. Okay.
You good?
I sorry, I just need a minute. So that's what we are trying to do, just to okay. Okay, we have
Excuse me.
yeah, just
Good.
yeah.
Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to this midweek edition of the Idle Park Talk Show. So it's a pleasure to have you today. We are coming to you on Tuesday night. We usually come to you on Wednesdays. But we're free today, so we thought we'd do a show today. So happy to have you here again once more. We hope you enjoy the things that we put out there. If it's something that interests you, we'll call upon you to kindly hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, share our page. If it's something that you vehemently disagree with as well, we ask you to send a comment. If you're so willing, come online and share your idea. And our promise is that we're going to treat you in a very kind manner. Again, we're going to be dwelling on the recent elections in Cameroon and what's at stake. I'll take a few seconds to frame it here. We're just going to be talking about the direction of the nation in terms of the short term and the long term. What's happening now? We all know the political divide now in the country, the claim of presidency by two people, and long term, what's going to affect, how is it going to affect the country, how is it going to affect the voters, how is it going to affect upcoming elections. So please stick around, put your comments. If you want to join, please let us know. We'll be happy to have you again. If this is something that interests you, like, share our page. Again, welcome. Asong, what is your assessment of the post-election events in the country? We are 2 days to the installation of Pobia for another term, 7-year term, but we have the self-proclaimed president of the country, Issa Choma Bakari, who is having his own rant on social media. They proposed a 3-day lockdown that was supposed to start yesterday. Today's supposed to be the second day, and tomorrow will be the last day. So these are the main events post-election. There have been some violence. There've been some destruction of property, a few deaths here and there. What is your assessment, your general assessment of all the things that have taken place few weeks after the election?
I mean, Ghana. Unfortunately, every most of the things that we predicted a couple of weeks ago, up to maybe about a week or two ago, seem to be coming true today. We talked a lot about post-election violence, which seemed to have been a little bit more serious than I had anticipated. I know during the last election there was some disturbance, there was some violence, but it was not as rampant or as serious as it is now. And again, the reason why this post-election violence is a little bit more serious now is because the self-proclaimed President Issa Chiruma seemed to have been inciting or calling on the people to go on the streets and to protest. And of course, when protest happens, there's bound to be casualties. I'm not sure if people realize that, because
Yeah.
even where I am and the people around me, everybody seemed to be supporting the protest. But again, there's consequences to that. The last time I checked, I heard between the 12 until today, I think about 12 people have died. So we have 12 lives lost. Again, we've always said that one life lost is a life, it's bad, right? 12 is a lot
Hmm.
of people dead for reasons that I really cannot explain. But again, Issa Chiroma has been, calling on the people to go on the street and to, defend their votes and protect their votes. I'm not sure how that makes sense, but that is what he is calling on. Fortunately or unfortunately, he seemed to have people who are listening and seem to be adhering to those calls. A lot of that is happening in the regions where Issa Chiroma won. I think that is
Hmm.
where a lot of the chaos is happening. I know in
Hmm.
the north where he won, in Adamawa, where he won in Littoral. So those three, I know there's the fourth one, but those three regions seem
Yeah.
to be the boiling points of this protest and destruction of property. So the
Hmm.
destroying public property, private property, there's looting, again, which always follows a protest like this, right? Protests where there's no head, where there's no direction, where um, there's no unifying reason. People in the north are protesting for different reasons and for different things. Those in littoral are doing something else. I know that the northwest and the southwest regions have been um, somewhat peaceful, because from what have heard from the ground, there's really been no protest. The argument here is that people from the north and the southwest regions of Cameroon have had their issues for so long, and all this while, people from the other side, from the east of Cameroon, have not been involved, have not been bothered with what has gone on in the West for what, for 7 8 years now. So
Hmm.
people are arguing that why should we, those people in the north and the southwest region, why should they join Issa Chiroma's call to protest against a friend of his, President Paul, the incumbent President Paul Biya, who is clearly a
Hmm.
good friend of Issa Chiroma?
Hmm.
So that is the argument that people are putting are making. So we have some sort of tranquility in central, where of course the head of state won. We have a little bit of disturbance in the east, I believe. And but the rest of Cameroon seem to be doing okay. People are going about their businesses,
Hmm.
and things seem to be settling down. Yesterday was a little bit more serious. I got videos in social
Yeah.
media, a lot more activity happening today, which is second day of the call for a national ghost town, or a V more, as you say in French. Wasn't exactly very effective. Issa Chiruma looks at this very differently, because he came out with a statement earlier today or late
Hmm.
yesterday evening, evaluating and congratulating, jubilating about the success of day one of his 3 day lockdown. These are strategies that we've heard before. The Amazonian revolution have explored and exploited this strategy of lockdown. So that is not new for us in the English speaking part of Cameroon. I have more questions than I have answers, Ghana. Where is Issa Chiruma? I think that's a good question to ask.
That's a good question.
What? is his plan? What is his strategy? How does he take power? Because while the president is in a 2D unity palace where that is the heart of power in Cameroon, Issa
Mhm.
Chiruma is nowhere to be found. Yes, he comes out on social media like any people come out on social media. It doesn't matter where you are. The question is, where is Issa Chiruma? He has a story behind that. And another question that I want to ask is, the argument that I hear people make is that, oh, no real state like the US or China or France have called Paul Biya or sent a letter to endorse Paul Biya. I don't even know what that means. Paul Biya does not need a letter from the United States, a letter of support or
Right.
congratulations to rule Cameroon. He doesn't need that, right? But people make the argument, oh, he's not a legitimate president because he's not had a letter from this and that and that. For me, that's just noise. My question is, I haven't heard any any state speak in favor or endorse Issa Chiruma's claim of victory. Not the United States, not China, not the European Union, nobody. So the question is, has Issa Chiruma any support outside Cameroon? The international community, like
Mhm.
everybody, does he have any support? Does he have any friends? Because that's where it usually starts. You need to have a friend outside the country to be able to manage a revolution like this, right? And
Mhm.
again, revolutionaries don't fight outside the national territory. You cannot be a revolutionary leader in exile. It rarely ever works. So those are some of the things that I'm hoping that we could touch on today, Ghana. I know I've gone,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
I'm very
well,
grateful.
good summary as always. You captured pretty much everything that we're about to talk about and delve in. And you put forward a series of questions there that I don't have any idea, and I have no answers for you, unfortunately. I don't know where Saturma is. Some say he's fled the country. Some say he's still in the country. Who knows where he is? I don't know. I would say my gut feeling is he's still in the country and he's still in his home, and there's just rumor out there that he's escaped. But I think my gut feeling is he's still in the country. He's still in his house. He hasn't gone anywhere. I just think the government is giving him a long rope to drag. And given the fact that he is a former minister of communication, has been in the government for 25 years, they are like giving him time for this man to come to his senses, but it's not. But I think Atangaje is just, it's just paradoxically, I think Atangaje is just showing a lot of restraint right now, considering what he said about post-election violence, about posting fake results and whatever. I think Atangaje is showing a lot of respect to Issa Chiroma because he can give the orders for Issa Trema to be brought to law. And, and if the president signs of that, the military has no other option but to execute a direct command from the chief of armed forces. So I think they're just giving a long room to drag, showing some respect, showing a lot of restraint. um, I think the red line is gonna be the installation of the president on Thursday. Should he continue with this his antics, he will be forcefully brought to books. Okay, and a lot of people, I feel like the support is beginning to dwindle a little bit. He's feeling a little bit isolated, if you ask
Mhm.
me. um we in WhatsApp group on Facebook, you don't see people coming again forcefully to defend this fraud or the stolen results, the papers that Issa Choma posted. Nobody's talking about that. It makes me question whether those people were actually really serious or they have ulterior motives. Because if your main stitch or your main claim is that the elections were fraudulent and you were duped of votes and the payments that you are rightly due, that's the case you should have been pushing since. By now, it seems like people have moved on. The few radicals, and I call them radicals because they are insisting on something that cannot be proven, or at least they haven't even attempted to prove that elections were stolen from Mr. Choma. So they are really trying to destabilize the country. They are pushing people to go on riots. Talked about the riots throughout the country. They are pushing people to behave in a very violent manner. We've seen a few deaths. The people I call the disposables they've died. So it's strange. It's a strange place. He still came today and still repeated the same statement that his elections, the elections, the results election were fabricated. His is the right one, but yet he doesn't want to go and prove it. So I don't know where we go from here. I think, in my opinion, Thursday, to reiterate the point, is the red line. And when Pobia is installed and if he continues with that, then we probably no, we'll probably figure out where he is, if he's in the country or not, because I'm sure they'll be looking for him. Um, yeah, so that's my assessment of the situation right now.
Mhm.
Um, oh, have you heard anything from other opposition leaders? He said people called him. He hasn't called any names of the opposition leader. What are your thoughts?
The only reason you don't have any names to call is because nobody has really called you to comment or support the cause that you're on. He claimed that he got calls from opposition leaders in Cameroon and leaders outside the country, but again, no
Right.
names, right? Because we've always said that you can't just pick. You need evidence to support the statements that you're making. Anyone can come on social media and say whatever it is they want to say. When we only take you seriously if you say, yes, I got a call from this person on this day
Right.
and this is the conversation we had. I mean, we
Right.
see that all over the place. When Trump calls Putin, no matter how poor the conversation is, he comes out and say, yes, I had a very
Yeah.
serious conversation with the president of the United States, or I had a call to the president of China. I mean, these are not people who have very good relationships where you acknowledge a call
Mhm.
just because it's happened, right? You don't come
Right.
out and say a call happened and then not say who that conversation happened with. So for me, that is something that Issa Chiroma did to boost and
Yeah.
to confuse the masses. And I think he's some sort of one. And that's
Mhm.
the question that I ask is like, yeah, he might have a few friends in Cameroon, probably not from the opposition, because Joshua Osei of the SDF hasn't said anything about what is
No.
going on. Libby hasn't said anything really. Libby has congratulated the ruling party,
Yeah.
for their performance in the last elections.
Mhm.
Bello Boa Magari hasn't really said anything about Chiruma.
Yeah.
Njoya, the lone lady in the race,
Mhm.
though she challenges the validity of the
The,
result,
yeah.
hasn't said anything
Anything
about,
about
hasn't
Issa?
congratulated Issa Chiruma for winning, because I'm sure she knows that Issa Chiruma didn't win. and
Right.
and and the rest of the 13 of them, we haven't heard anything. The international community hasn't said anything about Issa
Who is
Chiruma.
the international committee? Everybody can say the international committee. Who
I mean,
is the international committee?
just using the term vaguely.
I
I'm
know.
using I'm using the term as vaguely, as unseriously as you can, right? Because again, who
Yeah.
is that's a good question to ask. But because they talk about the international community, I'm using their words, right?
Yeah.
Again, the United States, Russia, China, you know, who in the international community is his friend?
Yeah.
And how do you win? How do you get yourself into the presidency with
Yeah.
little or no support from the so-called international
Mhm.
community? That clearly baffles me. So Issa
Yeah.
Chiruma seemed to be a lone wolf. He seemed to be fighting this on his own
Right.
and hoping that the masses, the Cameroon, the people, the populace, defend and support and eventually, topple the old guard and make him president. In his statement today, he called himself president of the people,
Yeah.
which, I'm not sure which people he's talking about, but that is how he sees himself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Just to name a few people who have called and congratulated Paul Biya. Putin has called and congratulated Paul Biya. The president of Gabon, that happened almost immediately.
Right.
The AU,
Mm-hmm.
the Commonwealth,
Mm-hmm.
other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Some will say, "Oh, we are concerned about the post-election violence," but at the end of the day, they still congratulate the guy.
Yes.
So whether you like it or not, this guy has been seen to won the election legitimately, and it is such a conundrum for Issa Chiruma that he claims to have people who have called him to support, to offer
Yes.
the support, but he cannot list any names. So who are these people? We would like to know. And again, not to belabor the point, I think he's feeling a little bit more isolated. The emotions, the high from all the
Yeah.
post-election has been kind of,
Subsided.
it's been
It's subsiding.
subsided, is dissipating, and I don't know if he's just decided that he's at the end of his life. He is going to just ride this to the end because he's like 76. He
Hmm.
knows he's probably not doesn't have long to live, so he's just gonna ride it to the end. Um, and then you didn't mention earlier, we have seen this book play out before. This is really the antics of Amber that was applied in Cameroon. This is nothing strange.
Hmm.
Okay, Issa Chema knows the book of Amber. Which is unfortunate because as someone who vehemently and constantly berated, and maybe rightfully so, Amber, because they're trying to destabilize the country, he has basically fallen into the same situation. How is this possible that just between 2017, 2018, and in 2025, Issa Chiroma becomes a very thing that he
Fought
he
against.
he, he fought again?
Criticized.
It's
Seriously.
he's trained. Okay, he was probably part of the government planning and their response to Amber.
Hmm.
So I'm just imagining. What are your thoughts? You know how the government planned, the
Hmm.
government executed the plan.
Hmm.
What do you think is going to happen to you? I don't know. So I think he probably thinks at the end of the life he's gonna give this one shot because I don't think after this he has any political career again in Cameroon. It's probably gonna be jail, or if he's let go, if he's let free. I don't think there's any coming back from this. I know
No.
people are loyal to a particular
No.
political idea and ideology, but I don't know that it's coming back to me. And this brings me to the question of why people like Camto have not made any statement because they still have a very strong political agenda and to pick a position, particularly to support Issa Chema at this point in time.
Yeah.
It's a risky one for Camto. And I imagine his voters, a few of them tend to Issa, not all of them. That's why
Hmm.
Issa got the numbers that he got. So
Right.
it's
But
strange. Yeah, sorry.
I know I was going to say that Camto still has skin in the game
He still
because
has his skin again. Yes.
he is probably a little bit more a little younger than the incumbent and than Issa Chiruma. So he has
Yeah.
time. And then secondly, the legislative elections, municipal elections are coming. Um,
Pretty much. I think we have regional election coming up
Regional
soon, and
elections are coming, and then we have the
legislative.
parliamentary the legislative elections coming next year, right?
Yeah.
So I know that Kamto isn't going to get involved.
Yeah.
I think it's better for him to just stay silent, let these two people battle it out, and whoever wins, fine. He is going to be the opposition leader for the next presidential elections. It doesn't matter if it's Issa Chiroma who finally eventually becomes president,
Yeah.
or if it's Paul Biya or someone else.
Campbell.
Kamto is not going to be part of the back and forth and part of this
No,
fight.
it's
They
not.
should
Yeah.
they should destroy themselves. And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I think he is going to come up stronger because in by next year he needs a few seats in parliament
Hmm.
so that he can run for the presidency in 2032. So
Yeah.
I would be surprised if he decides to show to come out and make any comment
Yeah.
on this
Yeah.
issue.
To make a comment or not, we also saw his very vague statement that he made a few days back. I don't think he's going to commit to any
No,
position
it's not
because,
going to.
just to let you know, they have a conference, they have a general assembly of the MRC happening this happening this month end. So they're probably still gonna bring back the counter and agree with it. That just tells you how tribalistic the whole political system is. 'Cause
Mhm.
I can bet you there are a lot of Bamileke people who just did not vote for Issa Choma because he's
Of
not
course.
Bamileke or he's not. Um, and even Issa Choma did not do himself any favor. Like he didn't campaign. He doesn't know. It's like the whole situation took him by surprise.
Yeah, he wasn't
Um,
ready.
um, he wasn't ready to even make a move. But it is what it is. Um, we're hopeful that the violence is not going to escalate. Things are
Mhm.
gonna settle down at some point.
Right.
Yeah, but we talked about already the ghost town. Today is day two.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, you already said it was, some places closed down, some businesses closed down in the major
Right.
places where he won. Today, I saw a lot of videos and a lot of places, they're not fully open, but I'll
But
say
there,
maybe 60, 65, 70%, which is already a win. Again, to bring it back to Amber stuff, we have seen this played out before. And I feel like politically, um, um, mentally, Cameroonians are in a very different place than they were in 2018, 2016, all the Amber crisis. And I can speak for myself. It took me a while to be able to gain my voice and gain traction, and maybe for good reason, because your family is back there. There's a lot of
mm-hmm.
security issues and people can help you.
Yeah.
But for me to get my voice and to be able to push back against the Amber thing, like I think this ghost town is going too far. I think the killing of opponents is going too far. I think the silence of the opposition of opposing voices is going too far. The kidnapping, the violence, the ransom, and all those things. It took me a while to gain my voice to be able to like. Maybe you guys have a course, but the way you guys are going about it is not the
Approach.
way to go about it. Yeah, it took me a
Approach.
few times to be able to get, to get the confidence. But I think Cameroonians are in a different space now. People already know how this ends, and
Yep.
you already have strong voices out there that may not necessarily be a fan of pop, yeah, but they already say, "Now, this is the we didn't sign up for this kind of thing.
Right.
Okay, we didn't sign up for you to come and lock us down when we've seen what." By the way, he said the numbers of Norwest are not believable, and the people from Norwest rejected the lockdown.
Yep.
They just came out of the lockdown, so
Mm-hmm.
they're like, we don't. The Norwest and Southwest people, they're not even looking at this as a.
No,
They're looking at you guys did not do it when it was our turn, and then you guys they're not even looking at it as part of the serious
they're not.
national thing,
They don't consider this a part of that national call. They
No,
don't see it like that.
yeah. So I think with social media, with people haven't learned their lessons from the Amber situation, with the what seems to be an obvious lie on the part of Isa trauma. I think people are fed up. People are saying they're not going to succumb to that, the lies, the manipulation, the pressure. And we called for him to be able to go and defend his case when it was time to do so in front of the Constitutional Council. He did not. So
Mhm.
I'm sorry. Even if you won, I can't follow. I can't follow through with you. You know.
Uh,
Yeah. So what are your thoughts of the? I mean, you touched on it already. The
Yeah,
lockdown.
I just wanted to talk a little bit a little bit on the consequences of this call to lockdown and the panic that
Yeah.
it caused. I know talking to people who live in Douala and they are in those parts of the world. There's people were panic
Yeah.
buying, meaning people were getting into markets and buying up
On
everything,
everything. Yeah.
which resulted to scarcity of commodities, foodstuff, basic home commodities, which meant that the prices had to go up. I saw people talk about getting a gas bottle for 20,000, something which costed
Mm,
them maybe 12,000 or so. So prices
right.
are going up just because the demand now is a lot more than the supply.
Yeah.
The fact that there's been they called for the ghost town, or even prior to that, means trucks were not moving. So trucks
Right.
leaving the port of Douala to every other part of Cameroon. I mean, there was a kind of a lockdown there. So the ports were open, so trucks were static and so things ran out. And so prices got high. So at the end of the day, it is the masses, the poor masses who are left to deal with the consequences of an individual's desire for power. I mean, Issa Chiruma, wherever he is, I'm sure he's eating 3 square meals and
Right.
extras. I'm sure he has a bottle of wine. He's Muslim, maybe he doesn't drink. I'm sure he has clean water that he drinks. I'm sure
Yeah.
sleeps comfortable. There's lights, there's electricity, there's everything that he needs. Now, the people who he's calling on to come fight for him and defend him have to deal with the
Yeah.
consequences. People have no money for food because they haven't gone to work, and you don't go to work, you don't get paid. It's not like in other parts of the world where you
Yeah.
might get paid for missing a day or two. You don't go to work, you don't get paid.
You don't hear it.
For
Yeah.
those who have to go out and fend for themselves, if you don't go to a charger, if you don't go to the park to charge a bus, you don't get
Right.
paid. If you're a Bensikine, if you're not out riding your Bensikin, you don't get paid. If you're a taxi driver, if you're not out riding your cab, you don't get paid, right? So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, if you look at the impact on the common man on the street, that is where the impact is. And for me,
Right.
that is the only reason why this is not going to last, because people are going to feel the impact. In the northwest and the southwest region is a little bit different, because there were Ambazonia forces who would come out once in a while and try
Right.
and force people to respect the ghost town or to respect the
Mm.
lockdowns, right? For now, I don't think that is happening in the French speaking part of Cameroon. I don't believe that he has a group, a pressure group, or group of people who can go around and enforce the ghost town or enforce a lockdown, right? So it's just a matter of time. Again, it's day two, and day two has shown us that people are somewhat tired from day one. People are eager to go out and work, are eager to go out and open their markets and get back to business as usual. We will see how day three looks like. Day three is tomorrow. We will see how that looks like. Also the administrators, so the DOs and the mayors, and have been coming out and encouraging the people and
Will do.
explaining the consequences of what this lockdown is going to do for them. Hey,
Right.
if you need to come out and sell. If you don't sell, you don't get money. Your neighbors need to come out and buy. If you don't open, your neighbors don't have anything to buy, right? So they are coming out and sensitizing in very peaceful manner in some parts. In other parts, again, forces of law and order are trying to prevent the looting and the stealing and the
Hmm.
destruction of property. But administrators, mayors, they're coming out and trying to have a conversation with people. And again, that is how
Yeah.
they beat. That is how they're going to beat
That's
whatever
exactly what it
strategy
is.
is
Right.
putting, Issa Chiroma is putting in place.
Yeah.
Areas where they need force, yeah, of course, the forces of law and order will go and deal with it. But in areas where it just requires a simple conversation, or
Hmm.
elites coming out and having conversation and talking to their people, that is going to happen. And that is how this Camto strategy is going to be defeated. Unless he has more
Exactly.
under Issa Chiroma, sorry. Unless he has something hidden under his sleeve, unless his
I don't
joker has
know.
not been, his
Yeah.
cards are not all on the table. If this is his strategy, yeah, I don't see it
And,
going anywhere.
and then speaking of lessons that were learned from the Amber situation, do you know how long it took for people like Ekema and the um, government delegate Bamenda to come out and tell people that you have to come out and open your shops, if not, you're going to be fine and safe. It took them years, maybe
Mhm.
about 2 or 3 years, for them
Yeah,
to be able to come up with that strategy.
yeah.
For government to go out and sensitize the people that you have to open up your market. If you don't, we're going to shut down your shop. Um, um, but it's not happening. It's taking merely days, okay? And then these people are the government is already doing what Ekema was doing, that took Ekema maybe 2 or 3 years to do. And even Ekema was the lone wolf in the southwest, even pushing that, you know. And then people could see that Boya was opening, Amba was losing control of Boya, they were losing control of Limbe and all those main cities in the southwest. But because when you take time, I think the government has learned this. When you take time to be able to make decisions like to be able to make or not make decisions like that, to get people working and going back to their business, riding their bike, opening their shops, selling their market and stuff like that, that's when this thing festers. That's when it gains oxygen. That's when it gains a life of its own, and then it grows into some monster that it becomes very difficult to control.
Mhm.
So, but I think the government has learned its lessons. They are out there and the sensitization. I've seen so many videos of the governor of Douala going out, the SEO going out and telling people to
Mhm.
open their shop, even buying stuff and they're showing it
Mhm.
and stuff like that. Those are things that took like 3, 4 years in the north and southwest. So it made the Amazonia thing first time took up on a mission on its own. I would just became a different monster. So again, just to say, we are in different times. We've seen this play out before. The government
Mhm.
is acutely aware. Anybody who should be really aware of this is Isaac Chiroma. He should have known our government plans to be able to stop this same thing, because he right now is just doing the same Amber playbook. Like it's literally the same. You try the ghost town, it works a few years and then begins to do it, and then you come and say, oh, it's succeeding. And people did not have as much internet back then, as much connection. But I don't think that strategy is necessarily going to work in 2025.
Mhm.
People are more acutely aware that the, the government not come to solve their problems. Those who claim to be fighting on their behalf will not solve their problems. So the Cameroonians, the same thing. They just shock and go back. Just go and live their regular lives.
Hmm.
And then we have a video or we have a picture. Which division in Norway and Southwest will become? I don't know. Is this
I mean, I think the article is just,
or
talking
the
about
panic
how,
buying? Yeah.
yeah, we talked about the panic buying. And it's just talking about the contributions that the Northwest and the Southwest made towards Paul Biya's, towards the incumbents
Right.
winning of that election, right? Because a significant chunk of the vote came from the
Came Norway.
Northwest and the Southwest
Right.
region. I mean, say what you want. The results and the records show that people went out and voted. And again, with the politics of Cameroon, when a province or a region or a division votes for the ruling party mass, there's always some incentives, some benefits that come their way, right? In terms of infrastructure, money,
Yeah.
and kind of government amenities. So I think that article is kind of
Hmm.
sort of making reference to, how the contributions that the Northwest and the Southwest regions put towards Paul Biya's winning and what they might benefit
Hmm.
from that. Because again, it's politics are like everywhere. Sometimes the president or the person you voted for, comes back and shows appreciation, right? Favors you
Yeah.
in one way or the other. I mean,
One
I'm
way or
not
the other.
saying that is what should happen, but again, that is the
That,
politics of, of
that's the
that's
nature, really.
Cameroonian way of politicking. So yes, I think that article is clearly
Hmm.
making reference to that. There is obviously another article. No, that is not the article. There's one article that I read that talked about Joshua Osei and
Yeah.
saying that members of NEC, which is their national uh,
Executive.
executive body, is calling on him to
For him
resign.
to resign.
What do you think about that? I was just going to.
With the performance of SDS is almost dead. We're just on live support by a few people who think they can benefit from that. I think it's basically a non-existent party. They don't have any sway in the Cameroonian political scene.
Mhm.
Come to, I would say, has more sway in the north and southwest than SDF. And we used to look at John, and he's been there for a long time. He sort of represented the grassroots, down to earth. Who go into the villages. The people just know that he was their representative. So they could identify with Joshua Osei. And for the last few days, I've thought with John Food, I'm sorry. For the last few days, I thought like, how has Joshua been different? I think Joshua doesn't come across as someone who's grassroots that the people can relate to,
Because he's
that the
not.
people.
I
Yeah,
think he comes from I think he comes from an affluent background. He's not
it looks like,
exactly
yeah,
man of the people in that
man of the
sense.
people, right?
He
Yeah,
does not come. He did not come from the you call it from the, I don't want to say the gutters, but from the trenches,
right.
as some
Yeah,
people would say, right?
as some people will put it.
Yeah, he is not
He sort
exactly.
of presents himself with his good English and can translate it into French easily,
Mhm,
like an
mhm,
elite,
mhm. He is an elite,
high
yes.
up there. He came across as too elitist to me.
Mhm,
And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying it could not relate. The people could not relate with him,
no,
not because he's an elite, but because he didn't come across as being authentic. Because
no.
I think people could look at John, and say he was authentic. He loved his people, power to the people. And then we all know the limitations of the SDF. They kind of branded themselves as a Northwest, maybe Southwest party. It's almost as if they were not serious on um, the national electorate of the national electorate. They
Mhm,
were more Northwest bound, maybe a few Southwest, maybe in the littoral, just around where Anglophones and particularly Bamenda people were. So I've always thought that was a drawback. It's the same thing I've said about Black Lives Matter. You kind of limit yourself to a particular characteristic. I thought uh, that's the way people perceive SDF. Um, always been a limitation to them. You don't seem to be fighting for the national electorate. You're more focused on your region and the people you call your people. So that and the combination of Joshua Zuti's lack of identification with the population, it's just made SDF a name only party.
Yeah.
They are we're just waiting for the funeral of SDF now because I don't think they can make any significant move um, in upcoming elections.
You seem to be agreeing with the call for him to step down.
I think so. I don't know if that's going to change some. Even times have changed. I don't think even Niger would have been able to to carry SDF at this time. Um, I,
Uh,
to put the nail on the coffin was Amber. Because where were you? Are you federal? Are you supporting Amber? If you're federal, how can you be supporting? Can you support Amber? Amber are separatists. You're saying you're federal, so you just put them like they just Amber just put the last nail in the coffin for SDF. If you ask me, you know,
Yeah, no, you're right. I think they were caught between the rock and a hard place. 2016.
yeah,
You show support for the government, then you're
yeah,
dissing
yeah,
you're moving away from your people. You show support for Ambazonia. Then you're in trouble with the government because Ambazonia
right.
is a separatist movement. Are
This
you is the SDF a separatist group now? Are
group
they
now,
a
yeah,
separatist or national? So they were caught in the middle, and they couldn't take a clear stand. They couldn't
right.
take a clear stand. And because you can't take a clear stand, I think the electorate or the Cameroonian Cameroon the people are not sure where you stand, and because they are not sure where you stand, they start looking for other
Just
alternatives. I
yeah,
think that
right.
was what happened. Those who were federalists or unitary Cameroon, moved away from the SDF because
The
the
level,
SDF did not come across as though they were a federalist
yeah,
proper or a unitary state proper. They didn't come across as support for cessation, for separation. So those who were more secessionists, would not support the SDF. So I think that
yeah,
was where SDF lost its touch.
yeah, yeah,
And then when Pani John Fundi passed on, and Joshua Osei, took the helm of the party, he didn't really do much to redeem the SDF
no,
from that
no,
situation, right? So he just lacklusterly, stayed in the same position,
yeah,
did
it's a
not take
position
fight,
ambiguous. Yeah.
wasn't very critical of the government, wasn't exactly critical
The kind of the
of
ambas.
Amazonia and the revolution, and they so he got lost. He got lost
Yeah,
again. I don't want to blame him. He just came to the head of the party at a very difficult time and just
right.
was not able to steer the party in the right direction, and the
Yeah,
consequences are very obvious.
yeah,
I
very,
mean,
they're very
SDF,
obvious.
which was top a main opposition party a couple of years back, is now sixth
Yeah,
position, six,
yeah.
with
They
1.21% of the vote.
That's ridiculous.
1.21% of the vote. That is
Yeah,
that is that is that is terrible.
you're not a serious person if you're that.
You are not a serious person. And so
Yeah, and yeah, so,
I definitely agree. I think it's time for Joshua. He's tried this twice.
yeah,
I think if you're critical of President Paul Biya for staying too long in power,
mhm.
two terms, two attempts to be president, I think is good enough. I think
It's good
you've
enough.
tried
Yeah,
your best. I don't know that there's anything else that Joshua Osei can do that would be
no,
different from what he has already done. It's time for him to step down and have the party hand over the helm of the party to someone else who might be willing to take this party to the right direction. So
yeah,
that is what I think about
that's
that.
very thing. Yeah, and yeah, exactly. You made a point that Nija. I don't think Nija even gave him brought him when he died. I don't think the party was even in a better place. Because
No, it
remember,
was
Nija before, when the Amber crisis started, Nija was like, he reasoned with the people like these people, why they're taking weapons. He was like pushing like because they've been discriminated, blah blah blah. Guess what? He was kidnapped by
he
the same
changed
people.
everything.
Not once, not twice. I mean, twice, not once. I think he was kidnapped twice.
Right.
By the same people. Okay, then I mean, if you're looking at this from a neutral point of view, you're like, what the heck is going on? This man was supporting you guys. Now you guys you're kidnapping. I think yeah, you just lose a lot of reasonable people, and then there's a lack of clear position of the SDF. Um, you're neither. Where are you? Are you supporting them? You're not. Are you federal? Yeah, it was just a big mess. But yeah,
Uh, Victor, Kamani, welcome to the show. I think you just came in and you have a few comments. You said he was a little caught me off guard. You said I thought Ambazonia would take this chaos in La Republique to have
and
their
they're
independence.
independent.
Yeah,
Ambazonia has not even care. They're taking a break now. They're like, let the Republic people do what they want to do. If I'm understand him correctly. Um, yeah, I think the people of Norway and South are like, the lockdown doesn't concern us,
yeah,
which is strange because if you say you were defrauded of Northwest and Southwest, you would think the lockdown is supposed to be implemented by the people who supported you. But the denial of the North and Southwest to follow through with the lockdown tells me one, they are tired from all the lockdowns that have been happening for over the years. They're
right.
exhausted. They don't care anymore. And two, maybe you didn't get as many votes as you wanted,
Yeah,
as you thought you did. Okay, maybe you don't have as many supporters as you thought you did. Because or maybe I'll add a third option, or maybe your supporters are not as loyal and are not willing to suffer because of
yeah.
your political ambitions.
Ambition, right. And again, I think there's one thing to add. If you talk to people on the ground, they might say that the Ambazonia movement or revolution you knew in 2008, 2016, 17, 18 isn't the same revolution we know now. In terms of the ability to control the people, I believe that they've lost the ability to control the
Yeah,
people in many parts of the Northwest and Southwest. Yes,
right.
there are certain parts of those little villages in the north and southwest where Ambazonia still has a lot of that power in terms of the
Hmm.
ability to come out and threaten and manage and control
Hmm.
the populace there. They don't have that anymore. They don't have
Yeah,
that anymore. That is the reason why Isa Chiroma could go down there and campaign. That is
yeah.
the reason why all these other politicians were able to go down to Bamenda and campaign. I mean, imagine you going as a national head of a national political party going down to the northwest in 2006, no, 2018 or
You can
2019.
to go
That
do
was an
what?
impossibility. No,
Yeah,
no, no, you couldn't even dream of doing that.
yeah.
But it's happening now, where rallies are happening in every part of where people are going out and voting. So
Yeah.
it tells you very clearly that, I mean, even if they wanted to take the opportunity to carve out a portion of the territory for themselves and maybe or finally get the independence that they're looking for, they don't have the
Hmm.
ability. They don't have the ability to do
Right.
that. And again, when was the last time you heard someone contributing to the Ambazonia
Money.
cause? And it's
Yes.
not
Yeah.
it's not for the lack of causes, because um 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 uh, president number one has a fund and collecting money for president. But again, is putting money in that, right? Nobody's putting money in that. Nobody's engaged in Ambazonia the way they used to. I mean, Ayabacho is in prison. People know that, right? For terrorism charges. Eric Tato is in prison for multiple different reasons.
Yeah.
You have a list of these Ambazonia leaders who are either in prison or are being investigated. Even Chris Anu, who comes out online and talks every day, he states it very clearly that he too is under investigation. He knows.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. So at the end of the day, the leadership of Ambazonia is shattered. Everyone now is fighting for themselves because Ayabacho now
Hmm.
needs to find a way to get out of prison. If
Right.
Ayabacho has money, he's needing that money to pay lawyers and
Yeah.
to go through the court process. So maybe eventually he's not going to be sending money down to Cameroon to his boys in the bush to buy weapons or to buy ammunition to fight.
Yeah.
So their priorities are shifting very
Yeah.
significantly.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's less of Ambazonia and more of their survival, I think.
Right.
So if you talk to people who are honest, who have observed the trend in this Ambazonia revolution, this is what they're going to say. And if they are honest, these are the conversations that they will be having.
Yeah.
Ambazonia that we know is not the
No,
same thing
no,
today.
no,
It is
no.
clearly not the same thing. And again,
Yeah.
clearly, this would have been a good opportunity to establish their authority over these two regions. This would
Yeah.
have been the perfect opportunity. Issa Chiruma could have been doing his thing up there, and they could have been doing their thing down here.
Well,
Because at the end of the day, the military can only stretch to
yeah, to a certain
it's
extent, yeah.
not elastic. They can only stretch to a certain extent. Would they be fighting here? You think if they needed if they were put in a position where they had to move troops to a certain, you think they would leave troops in the northwest? They would rather lose
Yeah.
the northwest and the southwest
Yeah.
than lose
Yeah.
littoral or lose the
Yeah.
east or lose the north,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
it's clearly a situation where they could have taken
Yeah.
advantage, but again, they are not where
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
were a couple of years back.
Right.
Again, just wanted
Because
to put that.
the government has learned lessons, the population has learned lessons. The people who you call on to support, I'm speaking in case of Issa Timad, they've learned their lessons, and Cameroon as a whole has learned its lessons. So I don't think we are in the same situation that we were in back in 2018, 2019. You know, it's different right now, and yeah. I think we have a little excerpt of his speech, Issa Tima's speech
You
that
want to
he
give
came out.
context before I put it on?
Yeah. So again, he had ordered the 3 days ghost town, November 3rd, 4th, and 5th. He came out today, said there was success, thanking the people for respecting the ghost towns. Said that repeated his claims that he is the duly elected president. His opponent, President Paul Biya, was only elected because of fabricated results. So that's just to paraphrase. That's what he said in essence. Um, so that's the context of his outing today. He lasted to about 2.5, maybe 250 minutes. Short statement. He seems to now not be calling on the international committee, but be trying to rally the spirit of well wishers and supporters so that they can go out on the street. I think that is his main model of operandus. Go towns and go out on the street to defend your vote. Yeah, I think that's the concept, the context.
Dear compatriots, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot imagine how proud I am to be the president of our people, capable of standing tall and strong and ready to pick up all challenges no matter how tough they are. At the first day of Ghost Town operation, evaluated by experts and all of you, the first day has been a successful. But I want to remind you one thing. This is the truth. Nothing great has been fulfilled by any people without the spirit of sacrifice. Our people have decided to take the destiny of our nation into their own hand, and to so doing they consented to accept to sacrifice a lot of things in their life. I would like to congratulate them. I would like them to understand that nothing great can be achieved and has never been achieved elsewhere in the world without the spirit of sacrifice. You have been doing it. This is the way that we have to take to be successful in this fight. I would like also to say a word to our people of defense and security forces. Please, 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 never turn your guns against your own people. This fight is also your fight. You know the reason why people are fighting. They are completely despoiled. They are completely deprived of their rights, completely deprived of the wealth of their nation. We became almost prisoner in our own nation. Please, 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 without sacrifice, it is impossible to achieve. But we are on our way to fulfill this dream. This dream has to come true because by joining our force, by being together, by moving, by remaining focused and moving together, it is possible. Not only it is possible, it is a duty, it is a must. We have to be successful. The first day of Ghost Town operation has been successful. The other 2 days have to be successful too, because this is the only gateway that we have to take to liberate our nation. You know, who are the people today who have confiscated the wealth of our nation? Oil, natural resources, mine. These are those wealth are into the hand of a group of people. We do not accept it. We will never accept it. Will happen what may. The sacrifice that we consented, we will continue to do it. We have 2 more days to go, and we have to be successful, because this is going to be the testimony. The world as a church will see the determination and the commitment of the people. Just because we know that nothing can be done for you if you yourself you don't do it. As we have decided to cross this Rubicon, let us be ready. Let us come together, shoulder to shoulder. No obstacle, no hurdle can't be clear on our way. May the Lord bless our nation. May the Lord continue to bring us together. And I am convinced that day in, day out, we are going to be successful. Thank you.
Ghana, thoughts?
My first thought, what was he doing with with both of his thumbs? Like, what was that?
Anxiety, man. Body language. The man is
I'm
anxious.
like, okay, I'm trying to listen to you. Stop distracting, because that's very distracting when you're trying to pass across a very serious message, especially if you're trying to lead a revolution. And that's very distracting. We've already said a lot of things about Isachoma, what he said. Again, typical Amber script, sacrifice. Do not turn your weapon on the people, our people. Okay. I didn't hear he has called the government the regime in the past. Okay, and then the dream. So those are typical um, amber words, phrases that they use. You know, they have to make sure to um, put your situation in the context of a struggle. You have been oppressed by a certain group of people, and there's some truth to that. You have been oppressed by a certain group of people. They have taken away your wealth. They have taken away your part of the national cake. And we have a dream that we're going to deliver to you. And only you join our movements and go on the street and says it without saying it, that you can go and demonstrate and burn down buildings and do whatever. And then we are going to achieve this dream together. But I'm the leader, okay, of this dream, and I'm going to take you guys there. It is your struggle. I've been part of the struggle, even though I've been a part of the government for 25 years. I've lived a very privileged life, but I understand the struggle that you guys have been, okay? And I'm the leader to take you guys to that promised land. Um, we have seen this play out, okay? It's the same thing where people in Norway, people in the United States, people in Canada, we're telling people in Amazonia that we understand your struggle, okay? You are our people. We understand your struggle. We are going to fight, fight, fight. We are going to lead to the promised land only if I'm going to be the leader. So, um, not to belabor the point, I think we are in a very different place. Cameroon of 2018 is not Cameroon of 2025. Um, People cannot be easily manipulated the way they were manipulated with the Amber thing. Um, they've gone past that. So I think he sounds nervous and all that thing, Tom movement. I think that's part of the nervousness coming out. I mean, we've all seen Issa Choma sound confident and strong in interviews, but
Mhm.
I think he knows that he's losing support. But what can he do? I think he's just riding the the carriage till the wheels fall off. So whatever.
I mean, just you talking about his body language, just even looking at him physically, he seemed to be a little frail
For
compared to how I saw him a couple of years. couple of days back, compared to his very first statement immediately after the revolution, right?
Yeah.
He seemed to be. I mean, it makes sense to be. It's clear. I'm sure it's exhausted. It's nerve wracking. It's overwhelming.
Mm.
I'm sure you don't necessarily sleep well.
Yeah.
And also, if you're alleging that the state has been attempting to arrest you, you're probably moving around from place to place or hiding in
Right.
dark corners and things like that, right? So yeah, of course, I see how he would be nervous. I see why he would try to self-regulate with the moving the toms and doing
Mm.
that. Again, it tells me that of course he too is under pressure. A good question that Lorette LC is asking is, who is our people? Again, Ghana, you've talked about this.
Yeah.
We are not his people. We've never been his people. We've not been his people for
Yeah.
25 years. He's been part of the regime that has plundered and exploited and stolen the wealth of Cameroonians. Issa Chiruma has been a part of that for 25 years. He only left that cabal 3 months ago before the elections, hoping to get back in, because that is what he does every elections. Of course, he has to step out. He has to go do a campaign, and then he get back, sell votes, and then get back to the government. I'm sure that was his plan, and this kind of caught him by surprise because Kamto wasn't going to be running, and then he was forced to
Yeah.
to step up. Um, you know, though he wasn't ready for it. So yes, we are not his people. Those who believe that Issa Chiruma's people, well, good for you. But I don't believe that we are his people, because we've never been his people. For the
No.
past 25 years, it's been Issa Chiruma and the government. He's been part of that system. He's been part of that cabal. He's been Minister of Transport, Minister of Communication, Minister of Minister of. He's held other
Level or
ministry,
something. Yeah. He's not a
right?
ministerial post. Yeah.
Yeah, so he cannot be. He's an elite. He is clearly an elite and never been part of the people. He doesn't understand the struggle that we've been through. He cannot claim to understand the struggle that the people of the Northwest and the Southwest region have been through over the past 7 months. He does not. He was never there. He never
Even
came.
even the people of the far north. You think he identifies with them?
Even the people of the far north.
The
I
poor
don't
people
really
there.
think that he was really a big part of that community, right? So this is an opportunity taking advantage of Kamto's absence, and now he's calling us his people. Again, I'm not sure that we are his people. So again, yeah,
Yeah.
that is what he had to say. Day one was successful according to Issa Chiroma, and he's hoping
Right.
that day two and day three are equally as successful.
Right.
Day two is ended, so day three starts tomorrow, I believe.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Again, like you mentioned, Ghana, the momentum is dissipating, and
Ah.
the people
No.
are coming back to their senses and getting on with their lives. Because at the end of the day, if Issa Chiruma becomes president, he's not automatically going to change the lives of the Shajer in my 17 boya. He's not going to immediately change the lives of the Ben Sikine in Douala, right? He's not going to
Bayam
change.
in Buddha
He's not
and
going to
Bafusa.
change the lives of a Bayam Selam in Budan Bafusam, like you say. He's not going to change the life of some uneducated, unemployed, 17 or 18-year-old who
Yeah.
grew up in some village in Bamenda who could not go to school because of the lockdown. Issa Chiruma is not going to get you to school. So people are realizing that, and they are realizing that, like in most cases, you have to pull your boot. You have to
Yeah.
stand up on your own and get your life going. And people are not willing to seem people and don't seem to be willing to fall in the trap that is being set. For me, I'll call it a trap. It's
Yeah.
a trap that's
Well,
being set for them, and people are clearly not willing to do that. Again, like we said, between the election and I think today there's 12 people. That is, I mean, it's a lot of death, right? But I think that it could have been worse
yeah.
if people took to the streets and followed Issa Chiruma's cry and call. I'm sure there would be a lot more people dead
Yeah.
than 12. So again, if there's any consolation to this, I would say we've lost as little life as possible, and
Yeah.
that this is the end of that. We don't wake up tomorrow and hear that other people have lost their lives
Right.
someone for somebody's political ambitions. That is it.
Yeah.
Agbobala, there's been a lot of talk about Agbobala on social media,
Yeah.
lot, and I felt like it would make sense to at least bring him up. I know typically
Right.
don't, because he's not exactly a politician, but I think
Well, he is.
he's somebody. No, he will not consider himself. He will consider himself
Right.
a member of the civil society, technically
Right.
not a politician in that sense, right? Which again, it's him sitting on the fence. He doesn't want to be a full blown out politician, because again, it comes with baggage, and so he sits on the fence, call himself, and he's part of civil society. But gets involved in politics when it's convenient for him, because again, what he did with Issa Chiruma is opportunist.
Yeah.
In my opinion, he sat on the fence until he saw an opportunity, and then he took it. I hear he too is in hiding. I don't know how true that is, but social media comes up with these stories. We can't verify.
Yeah. You can
But
verify that.
again,
Yeah.
I would mention, I hear he's in hiding, running away from you
Hmm.
know from your forces of law and order.
And
Um,
I don't personally know why he will be in hiding. I mean, he campaigned for the guy. He picked his side. I did not see him follow Issa to with the fraud claim and the full fake results and all that. I mean, I followed the guy on Facebook. I didn't see him go down that road with Issa.
right.
So, my assessment is, I don't think he's in any big trouble because he didn't go that road. He can be. You're free to choose whatever you want to
Yeah,
choose. You can run.
yeah.
It's part of your constitutional right. So, um, he hasn't gone as far as Issa in that context. Like you said, the guy is a very
It's a
a key
courteous,
opportunity.
good opportunity. Yes.
Opportunist. This is somebody that Joshua Otsi promised the post of Minister of Justice to be made president of Cameroon. And that was just as Otsi's, attempt to cajole the Anglophones and to cajole
Hmm.
someone who's an opinion leader who
Hmm.
was part of the beginning stages of the Ambazonia thing, and then fell out because a lot of radicals took over. So then the next minute he was campaigning with Issa Chiruma in the far north region. So he's an opportunist. I don't know where he falls, but yeah, I don't think he should fear for his life. He didn't follow Issa down the road. So yeah.
Okay.
Mm, so
Let-
Victor Kameni says we need to put an end to build a stronger country. We are a nation. We are a nation. Even Cameroonians abroad, Calgary, are suffering from that crisis. Okay, I'm not even sure what. Yeah. It means the Norway Southwest crisis. So, Um. Anyway, maybe this has nothing to do with that comment, but I would like you to clarify. But this is also something that I've noticed, and a lot of smart, intellectual people, opinion leaders are like, we have to destroy everything and start all over again. That's
Burn
kind
it
of echoing
down.
what That's
Burn
kind of
it down
echoing
in
what
the
Victor.
ashes and start
Do,
all
do,
over
do, you,
again.
do you know what that means? And I don't know. People just say these statements, and I'm always I show a lot of restraint, but I'm asking, what do you mean exactly? What do you mean exactly that we need to burn it down? Because in many ways, I'll consider myself a reformer. I don't want to get away of the structures that be. I want to make it better. I want to make it work. I want to make it more efficient and stuff like that. But there are a lot of people whose idea or notion of a change is to bring everything, is to destroy everything down before they start again. And you like, where are you starting from? Okay. And they say it in such a way that they don't go right to the end, but they are almost there. They say we have to destroy everything. What does that entail? Okay. That probably entails a coup. That probably entails a civil war
Hmm.
that's gonna last for ages. That probably entails destruction of the country that we know now
Hmm.
that it is now.
Hmm.
It probably entails no law and order for
Right.
years to come. But they always say it, and then they don't necessarily take it to the logical end. They always say we have to burn everything that because everybody is corrupt. Okay, have you really thought that through? Have you really taken time to be able to see what is it that has to happen for us to be able to destroy everything again and start anew? You know, um, so and I get that there's a frustration with B having been there for 43 years and has won another 7 year term. But you see, there's no other solution but to burn everything down and start anew. I don't know if people have really sat down and have
Thought
that go
about it.
through their mind, like
Mhm.
what are the implications of what they are saying. If you really know what and you really mean what you're saying, then you should be ready to go down there and fight. Okay, because you can't just do this on Facebook because that
Mhm.
has implications and it's yeah. Sorry, maybe I was wrong
You
to say.
can't do this from the comfort of your home. I
No,
don't think you can
well,
stay in your home in Europe or in America and call on people to go die on your behalf. I don't think
yeah.
that's fair. That's fair.
Say
Um,
no 43 years is either we discard phobia or nothing.
mhm.
When somebody make that kind of statement, I'm like, do you even know the implications or anything? Well, sorry, but sorry to cut you.
No, that's fine. I was going to switch a little bit to someone who has also been on social, well, who is also being dragged on social media
Right.
for staying silent. Francine Ganu, a couple of days on Twitter, put out the Cameroonian flag. Did not put a comment. He just put that out
Right.
there and left it at that. And if you read the comments
He was
under that,
dragged to
people
that.
are dragging this guy on social media
Yeah.
like there was nothing. And I'm sitting here thinking, um, doesn't he have a right to be
Mm,
silent?
right.
Should he is he obligated to pick a side? And
Right.
even if he does, is he obligated to pick your side?
Your side. Yeah.
Right? Because he's being dragged on social media, not necessarily because he's silent, but just because
He didn't even put
he
his
hasn't picked
comments.
the side he
Yeah.
hasn't picked Santo's side,
Right.
Chiruma's
It's
side,
your side.
which is baffling. I'm like, no, he has a
Which is
right
baffling.
to
You
silence.
know.
He has a right
Yeah.
to be neutral. He has a right to let you people fight your fight without
Yeah.
getting involved, right? We've talked about you having too much expectations for people who are a little bit more prominent, maybe on social media. On no, they are not obligated to be
He's one
involved in
person.
this
Yeah.
struggle. He's just one person. Why should
Yeah.
he be involved?
Yeah.
Why should he be? And that's the question I've been asking.
And
Why should he
why should you pick your
have
side? Why
anything
is
to
he
say?
at?
Why should he pick your side?
Yeah. And there's videos and pictures of CPDM supporters in Pamenda, and that was really funny. Maybe not funny in other aspects. They were celebrating the win of Pobia, and they were like ninjas. They had all
you had to hide. You had to hide your face
they had to hide their face.
because you're not sure what was happening.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. It was funny, but very sad again when you think about it,
And these
because
are the
you
people
are
who talk
saying
about their freedom, people's freedom. Again, it's always about their
it's
freedom
just
to
about
go
their freedom.
out. It's about their freedom to go out and protest, but not your
Right.
freedom to go out and
You can
celebrate on
celebrate.
someone else's
Exactly.
victory, right?
And then
It's
when
the
you go out on social media, people are putting people's address and faces and saying these people are recipient supporters. I thought you were the side of democracy. I thought you were the side who wants change in the country. But then you are celebrating the very fact that people who are celebrating their candidate who won should be killed, should be named, should be shamed. Like, how make that make sense? you know no matter what your political leaning is, at least you should be able to respect someone who disagrees with you
Mhm,
and has
mhm,
an opinion of their own. You
mhm,
should
mhm,
respect that they have their own opinion. But I saw
mhm.
a lot of people laughing and a lot of people saying Amber should deal with these people. So that is really
And,
your
and some of these
resolution.
people don't some of these people don't necessarily support the Ambazonia movement.
No,
Some
some of
of
them
these
don't necessarily
people
support the Amazonian
are
movement.
completely against it. But again, if it has to hurt someone that they dislike at the moment,
They don't
it's just
care.
fine. It's just fine. It's
Yeah,
people.
that's
For me, it's a serious kind of hypocrisy.
it's crazy.
It's good if we do it.
Yeah.
but it's bad if someone else
Someone
does it to us.
to
I
us.
think that
Yeah.
is where the problem
It's
is.
crazy.
And someone said Isa Chiruma Paul Bia is, two sides of the same coin.
No, some people
This means there's clearly no guarantee that, you know the issues that we are complaining about,
they're gonna
uh
go away if you
this
tell.
government is going to go away. There is clearly no doubt. It's just, people playing political games with the
Yeah.
poor masses.
Yeah.
And again, that is my opinion.
It's crazy.
And of course, you can have a contrary opinion, but that's
Yeah.
fine. For me,
Yeah.
that is
I mean, we have people that we disagree with, but you're not championing for them to be killed because of their opinion.
no.
You're not championing for them, or you're not happy that they have to cover their face to celebrate their candidate who won. I mean, it takes a certain level um, of apathy, a certain level of maleficence, a certain level of disdain, and just disregard for human life for you to condone the killing of somebody because they have a different political opinion to you. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to me. Yeah, maybe just to move on and kind of wrap things up.
Right.
The elections are done, and we've talked extensively about the short-term effects, the short-term events that have been happening, and the effects on the
Right.
political, socio-economic status of Cameroon. Well,
Mhm.
now in terms of long-term, we have upcoming elections that you did
Right.
mention. If you look at the election results, the participation rate was somewhere around 50, in some places as low as 40s.
Mhm.
It didn't go, I didn't see anywhere where it went more than 70,
No.
but so that shows you that a lot of people don't think that the political change in Cameroon is going to bring anything. A lot of people stayed home, they did not vote. If the estimates are right, about 50% of people did not vote. Okay. Um, brings to question the participation of Cameroonians in upcoming elections, their motivations. What is your general sense, assessment, appreciation of the whole situation?
I mean, clearly, I don't think people are motivated in any way. Um, Again, some of this, the lack of motivation could have been as a result of the candidates who were running for
Right.
office. We've spoken about Kamto a lot, and the momentum that he had. I think that Kamto is just on a hiatus. He's just taking a little
It's
break.
just 1 minute time waiting on the
Just
sideline.
waiting on the sidelines to bounce back. And I think he definitely has the momentum. He ran the biggest opposition party for a long time. So he now needs to focus. I'm sure he is focusing on the local government council elections, which
Right.
are coming up. And then he needs to pick up some seats in parliament. He has the momentum to do that. And so he should work on that. He has a following. He has
Mhm.
probably the ability to raise money because again, like we say, politics is not for the poor. if
No.
if you're running for office, you need a lot of money. You
Yeah.
need money for campaigns. You need money for representatives in polling stations. You need money for posters and adverts and things like that. Kamto showed that he had the ability to raise a lot of money. So he needs to take advantage of that, right? Cameroon is clearly going to need a strong opposition party. Again,
Yeah.
irrespective of who is president, be it Issa Chiruma, be it the incumbent president Paul Biya state, a strong opposition is definitely needed to hold the government accountable. That is what the
Yeah.
opposition does. Hold the government accountable. And again, weak oppositions like we had the Joshua Sayings of the SDF and the Libis, yes, they can't hold the opposition, they can't hold the government to any serious degree, right? So it definitely needs that.
Yeah.
um we've also talked about a coalition, and we've been singing this coalition thing for a long time.
Yeah.
The coalition needs to start forming now.
Yeah.
I mean, now, not a year to the elections,
Yeah.
not a couple of months to the election. I mean, now. Parties need to cut again. SDF, you're dead, and if you're not careful, you'll be buried soon, right? Cabral Libi, yes, is a young politician leading, but again, he too doesn't have the kind of momentum that
Mhm.
he can win an election on his own. Damjoya, the lady, can't. So none of the opposition political parties can do this on their own. Issa Chiruma couldn't
Yeah.
do it on his own. So it's time for these political parties to come together and start forming and building a coalition to to challenge whoever is in power in 2032. 2032 is not far from now. It's a couple of years ago. Before
Yeah.
you blink, 2032 is here. So these opposition
Yeah.
parties, hopefully Chirum Kamto can kind of start putting this coalition together, because that is the only way that the ruling party gets is toppled, is kicked out of power. The only way,
Yeah.
in my opinion. So for me, that is the future that I see uh
Yeah.
for Cameroon. If we want change, and if you believe that Kamto is the one who will give, I mean, initially I didn't think Kamto was the person. I'm not a fan of Maurice Kamto, but
Mm-hmm.
the options that we have, well,
He was the best. Yeah.
he seemed to be the best candidate.
Yeah. Mm.
Um, because he wasn't in the race, I think a fraud. I see Issa Chiruma as a fraud. To me, he's a fraud. He took advantage of the lack of a serious opposition leader, and
Yeah.
stepped up and did what he did.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Maurice Kamto is a more believable candidate, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's a more
Yeah.
believable candidate, and I think he needs to, start putting his what do you call it, his cards together. So yeah, that is what I see for the next for the next couple of,
But
yeah.
you know,
uh
we'll be interested to see if people turn out to vote on the regional elections and what the turnout is. Yeah, but it was very disappointing, the turnout. Yeah, good summary there. What is your idea of Pobia's strategy going to his last term? He's going to be installed on Thursday. Um, Health for any 92-year-old is not the best.
yeah,
Age, obviously, very, 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 very high up there.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's going to last the whole term, but yeah, what do you think his approach will be?
I think 7 years is a long time,
Yeah,
and considering Paul Biya's age, I think it's fair to doubt that he would be able to go through the
yeah,
7 year term. um One thing I know is that uh most of the leadership would be handled by his surrogates,
yeah,
the gongos, and whoever has power around him. Those would be the people who would clearly be managing the affairs of the state. He might show up once in a while, because he needs to, like he's going to show up for his inauguration. It's not clear the state of his health now. So there's definitely clearly that, which is unfortunate, because we the person who we voted in office will not necessarily be the person who will be
yeah,
leading the helm of the state. I think that's terrible. But again, it's what it is, right?
yeah,
um I think it's time for this government. Paul Biya might just have been given they say they give you a period, a kind of a period of grace, where he can change a lot of things, and clearly write a different story for himself. If he takes the 7 years that he has and make the changes that is required. Again, I'm not saying that he would, but I'm saying that if
yeah,
I were president who has led for 42 years and has been a clear mess, I might use the 7 years to try to fix some of the things that I ruined. I'm not saying that he's going to do it, but if he was a reasonable leader and had the people of Cameroon at heart, he's clearly needs to make changes, man. Clearly needs
yeah,
to make
it
changes.
does.
But
Yeah,
again, it contradicts the earlier point that I made, that he is not even going to be the one who is going to be at the
yeah,
helm of the state.
yeah,
He's just going to be a figurehead, and his surrogates are going to make decisions
you're right.
and move the country to the direction
Mhm.
that they want. Another thing too is there's no clear succession path, which
All right,
is
yeah.
clearly
I my assessment that's gonna be his focus. Who is
yeah,
gonna take over him? He's gonna try to make it speak, squash all the internal fights that are happening around him to succeed him, and that will be his main focus. Because I don't see him ruling for long. I don't see him
no,
finishing this term.
no.
But it is what it is. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything that we're
Yeah.
supposed to. We are watching closely. We'll keep an eye on the installation to see who's going to be installed on Thursday.
Right.
Um,
What do you
this,
mean to see who's going to be installed on Thursday? Are
well,
you
because
saying that it's who are you going to be Issa Chiruma? Or are you saying that he's not going to pop here? Anyway, just
I
joking.
mean, we have clearly it says we have two president elects right now, which is a strange situation. And if you're a Canto supporter, it should be very strange for you because your guy, I don't know how he's gonna name his own palace because someone else is gonna be in the palace on Thursday,
You mean a
and it's
Chiruma
not.
supporter?
Yeah, it's not Issa Chuma. So I'm sorry, but your worry should be what's gonna happen to Issa Chuma after Thursday. Because he's not going to be so. They say the presidential guard, they're already doing their practices. The Parliament House has been prepared for that. So, sorry, but it's not happening.
Hopefully he doesn't fall and die on the day of the inauguration. I mean,
Hopefully he doesn't. It
hopefully
should
he
take
doesn't
better
die he die in front of the
when he
cameras.
does that. So swear.
Yeah, that is going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, we are going to be following that Thursday. We
Mhm.
might, depending on how things go, we might come out. If we're
And
able to
do that.
broadcast it, we might be able to broadcast the inauguration and then maybe come out and do a live shortly after that. Again, we are still trying to figure out where Chiroma is. We hear I hear that he's been whisked out to Chad. I hear he's in Nigeria. I heard a funny story about, oh, he was in Nigeria. The government, uh, reached out to the Nigerian security forces. They, pick- they you know how these stories on social media are.
Yeah.
Again, these are not stories that can be verified. We haven't verified any of those, so
Yeah.
it's just stories, as I say, right?
Yeah.
Allegedly, as people used to put it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll keep an eye. Thanks, everybody. You want to do closing remarks?
Yeah, no, it's fine. I think we've done that already. Well, I want to thank Laura LC, who has been part of the show. Victor, always a part of the show, always commenting. Maybe someday he will have the courage to come up
Yeah. It's okay.
and have a conversation with us, because I see he has some sort of a contrary. We agree on certain things, but we do have areas of disagreement as well, and that would
Absolutely.
be an interesting conversation. So um a leader who is not on the ground with the people. The same comment I made, Laura LC. Again, just if Kamto is not, if Chiroma is not in Cameroon, and I think that's where the question is: a leader who is not on the ground with the people.
Facebook country.
Facebook. Oh, another Facebook Republic. Is happening. So, well, thank you, everyone. You guys have a good night, a good morning for those who are waking up in Cameroon, and we will talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Okay.